it's not 100 over 100 that will give you first class. It's 70. If you get a first class and you get no prize, it's better than, suffering all that you have suffered in the Nigerian laws and you probably end up with a second class, lower, or a pass. Hi guys, my name is Chukwunyere Excel Greats. I graduated from Abia State University. I went to the Nigerian Law School, Lagos campus. That was of last year, and I graduated with the first class. How did I mentally prepare for the Nigerian Law School? In terms of preparation, I think I had a 1 year head start because I didn't go with my set to the Nigerian Law School. I joined the later set to the Nigerian Law School. So I decided to go on internship. And one of the places that, gave me a good head start is working at Legal Assets in the chamber of Mr. Johnny Agin, ACN. I met a lot of incredible people. I joined during the time Omotayo Mary, that is the BGS of 2022-2023, was interning in the firm together with Benjamin and Ella. That exposed me to great minds, exposed me to lawyers, exposed me to work and how, the law works in total. So there were lots of work to do, a lot of research to do. And while I was doing that, the head of chambers asked me to make a timetable for the Nigerian Law School since I'm going, next year. And that's what I did. So I started following that timetable, making my notes for the next year. So I had, that's why I said I had, a 1 year head start. In terms of mental preparation, being that I've already been in the system of law and met a lot of people, asked questions, and participated in it, yeah, I was mentally prepared for. I was definitely doing the work of a lawyer, not appearing in court, but in terms of drafting, in terms of filing. So most of the things that we see in our notes, because we call it civil litigation practice. So it was more. I did more of the practical aspect. So it prepared me mentally, but I wasn't 100% sure, and I hadn't finished making my notes that time. But one thing I know I did was I prayed. So I had to pray, God, please help me while I was going to law school. So I had to keep telling myself and keep repeating to myself that, yeah, bro, you can do this. You are the best, because there's this motto I go by, be the best. So you are the best, and that's all you are going to be. You're not going to, go down. You're not going to, be below. So when I heard that motto came out with the first class, I was like, yeah, that's who I'm going to emulate. I called her on the phone and she gave me some tips and told me, I know that you've been reading. That is not act like, you've read everything, because she was just trying to tell me that you leave room for improvement. So that's how I mentally prepared for law school. How was law school for me, and was it what I expected? So initially I wanted to go to Abuja campus. Thank God I know I'm not hitting on Abuja, Abuja Law School student, but thank God I didn't go to Abuja. When I saw Lagos on my posting form, I was like, ha, Lagos is one place that I don't like. I like the rowdiness, everything. I didn't like Lagos, but my father told me, I complained to my dad. My dad was like, sure, I went to Lagos campus. I was like, that was when there was just one campus. But I just asked him one question as a joke, like, where was your room? And, I was like, okay, I can do this. I went on to pray about it, because every single step that I took, I ensured that I prayed. I said, God, wasn't Lagos campus that I wanted to go to? Well, if you want me to go, no wahala. So I started browsing. I heard how tedious it was. My friends that is my colleagues that were in the university that had, gone to law school and became lawyers. That is during the Motayo set. They told me this is what you should expect, this is what you shouldn't expect, and all those kind of things. And I was like, ha, you guys close by 4. when are we going to find time to read and all those things? They said, bro, you just have to find time. So I just took the advice, watched some YouTube channels. I think the one particular thing about registration, because registration is very, very important. The first few weeks that they give you for registration, please take advantage of it, because once lecture starts and you are trying to do registration, you won't have work. I won't say work-life balance, or learning life and learning life balance. Let me just put it that way. So law school was quite better than how I painted it. That's the Lagos campus was quite better than how I painted it, because I painted it like it's one place where you would you would you sweat, like when the Bible says tremble and fear. So that's what I thought Lagos campus was, but it wasn't really like that. Let's say it was 50% out of the 100% of what I thought Lagos campus was. What was my preparation process like? So I had already said that I had a 1 year head start before I came to the Nigerian law school. I had done like 70% of my notes. I've made 70% of my notes, because that's what I usually do when I'm in university. Like my friend Caleb will always tell me, bro, you like reading before semester has even started. Are you sure you understand what you're reading? I'm like, definitely, yeah. I try as much as possible to understand what I'm reading, because I'm not just reading one source material. I'm reading one source material. If I don't understand that one, I move on to the next one. So there's always this room for resources. And while Omotayo, Emanuela, and Benjamin were doing the externship, I collected some materials that they wanted. My senior sister, who is also a lawyer, I used her. That is a property law by Dadem that I used. All this information I took from various people actually helped me in my preparation for law school, especially the academic aspect. But in terms of lifestyle and how you're going to do it and all those things, I didn't really much plan for that. I think I started planning for that when I saw my posting. So I was like, let me call my friend on what we need for law school. Like, do we need bucket, or would they provide bucket for us? My friend Kofi gave me a list of things that I would need for law school. It was in Abuja campus, but I later combined Caleb's list and Kofi's list to buy the things that I needed for campus. But mosquito net was very important. Like, that's one thing that my mom, really helped me out with. She was like, bro, take mosquito net. So I wasn't prepared in terms of lifestyle, but I was prepared in terms of the academic aspects. In terms of special reading method, I always have a head start before I get into the system. So I always read ahead of time, so that while they are teaching, I'm just following up and clearing some ambiguity that I could not clear up while I was reading on my own. And also, I always write on papers. I don't like having an actual notebook. So I write on paper, a special sheet of paper, like a full scarf, not a special sheet of paper, don't mind me. So a full scarf sheet. That's where I write for each topic, I just write for that topic on that full scarf sheet. That's what I do. Then if there's anything I missed out, I always have this sticky note where I just clip it in. And if I need to clear some more ambiguity, or make everything that I've written down on that full scarf sheet more simpler for me to understand, I just click the sticky notes on the full scarf sheet. So what was my typical day in law school? What was my typical day in law school like? My alarm is static by at 5 a.m. in the morning. So I'm always up and ready to go about my day by 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm probably reading for the past week, or another week. I'm not always reading. I don't read for the topic that we have that day, because that was something that I must have done, a few weeks back or so. So I'm always getting ready for, the next week or upper week, because I've already made my notes, pending, my resumption in law school. my room is more organized. We usually fetch. We do things. It's just like a communal living. So we fetch water for ourselves. We ensure that everyone is ready for, like, we are always, you know, I won't say check meeting, but we are always looking out for each other. So we didn't leave anyone behind in law school. So my roommates, that is Michael Afoye and Kester Munemune, like I call him, and Mr. David. We always ensure that we look out for each other and everything moved smoothly um, while we were at the law school. So I go to class, I stay at class, like while the lecturer is talking, I'm following, I'm answering questions. I was also notorious for answering questions in class. When they ask a question, is either I'm answering or it's Albright that's answering or someone else that's answering. But nobody likes sitting with me because they're like, bro, don't raise your hand. So that was my typical day in law school. So when I'm done with classes, sometimes I go straight to the library. But when the body is very weak, I just go and sleep. Then by 4 o'clock, we didn't usually close classes by 6. So we close classes at most 4. I mean, at most 2 o'clock. So I had to sleep by 2, wake up by 4, and I read from that 4 till 11 p.m. in the evening. Sometimes, if I want to do all night, I might just decide to sleep till 7. Then from 7, I read till 5 a.m. in the morning. Then I go back to my room. So that was my typical day in the Nigerian Law School Lagos campus, when the mosquito they would devour you while you are reading. But ensure you always buy this mosquito repellent, not the one like you can buy a long reach. Then there's another one you can rub on your feet. So how do I plan my time? I had this calendar on my phone. So each day, like before that day comes, I've already scheduled what I'm supposed to do that day. I know I'll have lectures, but I know what I'm going to read that day because, like I said, I had 1 year. So I'm probably, setting my timetable for something that, I want to read that is being on my mind. There's always God that's always telling you, read this particular topic, like in corporate law, auditing, that people thought that wouldn't came out. So there's always this burden to read this particular topic. I put that on my calendar. It was always scheduled. I was always scheduled my time. So I always, used the calendar on my phone. Yeah, I never missed one day of class, but somehow, my attendance was 97%. I don't know where the 3% ran to, but it's very dangerous missing classes because there are things that they would say in classes that are not in the book. So you would not really understand. Like, I gained clarity more in class than while I was reading my book because, sometimes we're arguing appeal, whether it's supposed to be at the at the High Court or at the appeal court. That's in terms of motion. And that is a notice of motion, whether it's supposed to be in the High Court. So during the class session, you can ask those questions, write our questions down on paper, and they clarify it. So missing classes is very, if I were to be exaggerating, it's very dangerous to miss classes because you would miss a lot of information. And then there are sometimes always comic reliefs in classes where um the lecturer cracks one joke that will make you remember, or someone made a mistake that that, and I'm not making this mistake in the example and all those kind of things. So don't miss classes. Where was I in any study group? Well, if I to be fair to myself, I wasn't in one particular study group. I was trying to find my group of people. Study group is good, but the issue with study group is that you have to keep to their schedule. What they want to read that day might not be what you want to read. So there's always this clash in terms of interest. Like, I'm interested in this topic, you guys are reading this topic, and all those kind of things. So there's no general balance except you all decide and sort out the gray areas. Like, okay, let's use this gray. It's not white, it's not black. So that's one thing with study group. But I joined a lot of study groups in school. I won't say I was a prostitute, but I joined a lot of study group in school. I think I joined like 3 study groups in school. and it was fun. On the long run, I found accountability partner, which was Victoria Yakada. So we spent most of our time reading. Then we spent most of our time reading. Bantering ourselves like, hey, you are wrong, you're not wrong, and all those kind of things. So yeah, study group is good, but sometimes there might be conflict of interest. So it depends on you. If you are the one that likes to flow with the crowd, yeah, you can go for study group. But if you are someone who is independently minded, and you have certain interests that you want to handle, and it's always going to conflict with the entire group, don't. I would say don't, but I'm not advising you. It's not a professional advice. Yeah, I would recommend it. Let me just put it that way. I wouldn't recommend it, but it depends on your kind of person. So if you are someone that learns when you are hearing from other people, that's good. But if you are someone that your interests always clash, please don't. Just either look for someone that you can just sit opposite each other and read. Then ask questions when necessary. Or did I have friends in school? And will I recommend making friends in school? Yeah, I did make a lot of friends in the Nigerian Law School Lagos campus. I made quite a number of friends that I still keep up with, especially with my roommates. Yeah, we still have our group chat, room 101, red scrolled and group chat. So we usually banter ourselves there. Yeah, I would recommend making friends because most of those friends will recommend you for job offer or something. And in terms of making friends, I would also advise that pick friends that are in line with your goal, not just your goal in the Nigerian Law School, but goal outside the Nigerian Law School. So you don't make friends that are more of a burden than actual help. So in your first few conversations, while you are interacting with a person that you intend to make friends with, you would get to know whether this person is worth keeping or is worth staying away from. So ensure that while you are, I ensure that while I was making friends, I made friends that would align with my goal and were aligned with what I'm going to do outside. Was I in a relationship? I think in the first two trimester, I wasn't in a relationship. In the third trimester, I tried to get into a relationship, but we're not together anymore due to good reasons. So I would advise that you get into a relationship, but don't let it affect everything that you are going to do in the Nigerian Law School. So when the relationship starts affecting your studies and all those things, I think I'll advise you to drop it. Drop it. Even while, if you still want to keep the relationship, you can say, okay, this is exam period, or this is the time. Like, just set boundaries. Like, we are meant to read. Let's read. I know a lot of my guys that were in relationship, and it worked out for them. It didn't really work out for me. So relationship wise, I'm not a relationship expert, but if you're the kind of person that can handle emotions and handle your education at the same time, please go ahead and do it. Then, was it all books for me? And did I have time to have fun? Yeah, it was. Most of my time was, if I'm not reading my notes, that is my scroll, if I were to put it that way, because I don't write in books, I wrote in papers. So if I'm not with my file where I put the scrolls, I'm with my phone. So I'm reading the topics on PDF, or I'm answering past questions on PDF. So it was book centric. Then in terms of fun, yeah, I did have fun. I remember when I went out with my uncle, his office was quite close to the Nigerian Law School, so we usually go to club. And yeah, there was also a bar around the Nigerian Law School where we go to, watch football or basically have a little pint of beer or something like that. So we didn't get drunk, please. But yeah, we had time to relieve ourselves. Sometimes I walk around our school just to exercise, and also I hang out with friends too. So room 104 were notorious for cracking, very hilarious jokes. Yeah, I always go there to, wind up time. They are really good scholars. And I go there to wind out time, like, spend some time with them, We cracked jokes. No topic was off limits. Everything was on the table, if you get what I mean. So 90% book, 10% fun. So that's the ratio that I would give it. Did I read during externship? Yes, I read during externship. I was doing more of revision during externship because while in our first trimester, I had covered most of the topics. So externship, my mom was always on my head, like, you are sleeping, you are pressing phone. My brother was always snitching on me, like, Mom, I think Excel is not reading. She will come and open the door and be like, you're not reading. And I have to read. My mom is an academic. They were always supportive. Then in court, reading, like, I created an impression to my judge and the registrar that they were like, this boy is going to come out with the first class. I was like, I would like to say amen, but I have to do the work to actually get it. So, in the chambers, that is the current Attorney General Federation's chambers, that's the Temitope's chambers. I also created an impression that this boy is more about the books and all those kind of things. So I was reading during the externship, and they called me, and I still they gave me this name, that the most serious extern of 2023 set. So I read during externship. It was a necessity, very serious necessity for me to read during externship. So in preparing for bar final exams, I always go with this mindset that you can't worry and read at the same time. Like, there are two strong energies that will always conflict. And there's always a battle in your mind that is always that you have to drop one for the other. So it's either you fear or you go ahead and read, because you can't say, I can't understand this and I'm trying to understand this. Like, no, it doesn't work. So the thing I advise myself and I advise other people is that don't worry and read. Just go ahead and read it. If you free your mind, if your mind is not tensed, you tend to understand it better than when you are tensed reading the material that you are reading, or even while discussing with people. If your mind is tense, you can't do. I don't believe in multitasking, but you can't do two things at the same time. So it's either you stop one for a particular second and do the next one, and after that second you go back to it. That's how it's really like. So that's the advice I'll give to anyone doing bar exam. And please don't crash read. It will not help you. If you think you are going to crash read and possibly come out with a 2-2, I promise you, it's not going to be possible. You can't start reading in the third trimester. I advise you to start from day one, like from the get-go. Like I keep saying, I had a head start while preparing for education-wise, while preparing for the Nigerian Law School. And if you have that opportunity that you have few months to read, 3 months before law school, please take that opportunity. Make your notes before you come to law school. By finals, you can't worry. By finals, you can't crash read it. And if you have a head start, please take advantage of the head start. So that's my advice for you in terms of bar finals. And have one particular material that you refer to. So if that material would be your note, because your note is a combination of different materials put in one in such a way that you understand. That one material, use it. So always solve past question and your taxes, because your taxes are more harder than past questions. So do that. Then one of the privilege I had is the privilege of Miss Mary Alaja during my externship at Temitope's chamber. She taught me how to answer questions. She was like, you are getting it, but you're not answering it. Like, if they are marking your scripts, they will get tired. So answer it properly. So she's one of the questions that I know that she helped me understand how to answer is propriety or otherwise. So how you begin with it and how you actually end. General principle, therefore, general principle, however, and your conclusion. That's the therefore. Answering questions would gain you more mark, that's in terms of structure, than just blowing it like that. So in preparation for bar finals, always learn how to answer questions, because you might be getting it right, and at the same time, someone who answered it, you might have answered the same thing, but the structure at which the person gave and your own structure is not the same thing. So how did I feel when I checked my results? and I saw a first class. My friend Jachima would tell me, I always know you're always bragging that you're going to get a first class, but I was actually tensed. Like my mind was, did I really get it right? Because I know in my property law exams, I did not finish. I was just so tired. But my friend, my accountability partner, Victoria Yakata, always told me, it's not 100 over 100 that will give you first class. It's 70. And I was like, at least let me get 80. I want the prize. But he said, is it not better you get a first class and you get, and then you are, yeah, you're going to make a first class. But if you get a first class and you get no prize, it's better than, suffering all that you have suffered in the Nigerian law school. And you probably end up with a second class lower or a pass. So, yeah, 70% is still a good mark. And when I checked my results was like 2 hours after it came out, I was sleeping. And something woke me up and I said, let me check my result because I wasn't following the news or the trend when the results were going to come out. So when I checked it, at that time I was in my mom's room and I tapped her and I said, Mommy, it's a first class. My mom jumped up. I thought, what have I done? What have I done? She was like, thank you, Jesus, and shouted. And, everyone in the house, got up and was like, and I was like, hey. And, the first thing my dad did was everybody come and pray. It was like he messed up the mood, but I understood what he did. He prayed, and, I was excited for the first class. It was the best feeling ever. There was this move, like this move now, this move I'm making. This was a move I intended to do when I got the first class. I did it more than 20 times. My hand was paining me. So, it was an awesome experience. Like it was a win for me when I got the first class. It was an assurance to what I used to say before. Before I used to say that hard work is not a necessity for success. It's not a guarantee for success. But this time around, I proved myself wrong by, showing that hard work and consistency it can guarantee, the result that you wanted. So when I saw my first class, I was very, I was very excited. Yeah. And yeah, I was expecting it. So I would say 50%. Like, when you get into law school, like I can do it. I am expecting a first class. And along the line, when you now see people that are reading with two books in their hands or something like that, I'd be like, bro, are you sure I can really do this? So my conviction reduced during my stay in the law school, but having good friends and having good friends and having a family that will always encourage you, because it still goes back to the principle of worrying and reading at the same time. So yeah, so I had that perception, and Omotayo was always of the opinion that don't go and do like you know everything. There's a time that she quizzed me, and I failed 75% of the questions that she asked, and I was feeling so bad. I said I must go and read. And I think when I got first class and we spoke, she told me I was fearing that you think that you take this your overconfidence to and you fail. But thank God you passed. And I was like, thank God too. They usually say that people who answer questions in a class used to fail. And I was just praying that I don't do that because they advised me not to answer questions. So I was expecting it before I came to law school. I was not expecting it when I saw the entire thing in law school. But my conviction was renewed every single time when I had good friends and a family that supports. So best and worst moments. It's a mixed feeling in law school. It's a mixed feeling in terms of experiences. The stress was awesome, working under pressure and at the same time trying to be happy at the same time. I really enjoyed everything. I think I visited Nigerian Law School last night to visit someone, and I also had a party. So I visited Nigerian Law School, and this feeling was PTSD at the same time exciting because it was the best period I had in my life. So yeah, I won't count any bad experience as a bad experience. I'll consider it as a good experience. So that's how I'll take it. Would I consider law school overrated? If it's like I keep telling people, if it's easy, go and do it. So it's not overrated. It's not overrated. It's a school that will test your will. It's a school that will test your ability to work under pressure. Because I feel like if you attend the Nigerian law school, you are well within your right to put I can work under pressure in your CV because it's not easy in the Nigerian law school. So it's not overrated. And in terms of practice, in terms of most things that you need during your professional life, you get it in law school, like your foundational knowledge and everything like this now. You find it in law school. You find it in the Nigerian law school. So I will not say that is overrated. Yet my support system, my father, I like to appreciate him because he was doing most of the heavy lift in terms of finances. He's a lawyer too, and you know how it is in this economy. So my father really did most of the financial heavy lifting. My mom also, because sometimes I'll just stay and I'll see 50,000 naira. I'll be like, this is what I spend it, but I'll be like, no, 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 calm down, calm down. Let's follow you now. You don't understand. So financial plans and all those things, they were really supportive in terms of finances. Then my friends, especially my roommates, who were very cooperative in terms of no man is left behind. If you don't have something, we provide for it. Especially Mike, like all of them, I can't choose a particular person. Then there are other friends I made in Ustelbi that were very supportive, like Oluwatobi, Chioma Ngige, and a whole lot of them. Did I watch Young VIP TV before when I was in law school? No, sadly no, but I wish I did. But there's something that Omotayo did for me that really made me inspire. And I think it's still the same line with what Young VIP TV is doing. Inspiring minds to see that they can go beyond what they are thinking of. So she made me watch, the call to bar ceremony or during that time. And when I was seeing her receiving all those prizes, I was like, I need one of those. I got Director General award for getting a first class, but I really wanted more. But I thank God for what I have. Mom sees me saying this, she'll be like, "You did some beautiful boy." But I thank God for what I have. So yeah, I would advise anyone that is in the process of joining, who is in law school and in the process of joining the law school to, watch Young VIP TV because it's the kind of thing that you need because you can't be worrying and at the same time, and trying to understand at the same time. So you need people that inspire you. Sometimes you don't get to have people to inspire you, but if you can inspire yourself by telling yourself and also watching people telling their stories, you kind of, be renewed in terms of going back to battle again and then fighting. So I did not, but I wish I did, and I wish you will. So please watch Young VIP TV if you are in the process of the Nigerian Law School and that. Additional things I'd like to say. I would like to thank Young VIP TV for giving me this opportunity to tell my story. I haven't told you every single detail, but yeah. And I also like to thank the current DDG of Nigerian Law School, Ms. Dr. Dushote, and the Director of Academics, Dr. T. Hamid. They were more of an inspiration in the Nigerian Law School. When you see women that are learned, it drives you because it drives you to do better because we're in a society where they don't really consider female lawyers as credible, but they have shown me that they are credible. and I drew inspiration from them. And I'd like to thank you for listening to my story.